For a moment there was nothing. No sky, no mountains, no alien valley. Only light. Blinding, endless light. Captain Mercer slowly opened his eyes. The ground beneath him was smooth and cold, glowing faintly with shifting blue lines. Around him the team stirred, recovering from the violent surge of energy that had pulled them through the collapsing central gate. Sergeant Rains rolled onto one knee immediately, rifle raised. "Captain, where are we?" Mercer looked around. The answer was impossible. They were standing inside a vast structure that seemed to stretch forever in every direction. Thousands of triangular portals floated in the darkness around them, each one glowing with a different color. Some pulsed slowly, others flickered like distant stars. Professor Chen whispered in awe. "The heart of the Gate network." Pilot Hayes looked equally stunned. "In our time, we only theorized this place existed." Dr. Morozova stepped closer to one of the floating portals. Inside it, she could see another world, a red desert beneath twin suns. Another portal showed a frozen ocean under violet clouds. Lieutenant Alvarez stared upward. "How many worlds are connected here?" Professor Chen slowly shook his head. "Possibly thousands." A deep vibration suddenly rolled through the chamber. Sergeant Rains tightened his grip on the rifle. That sound again. The same low roar they had heard in the mountains. The hunter. Pilot Hayes looked toward the far end of the chamber. The creature followed us. The distant portals began flickering violently. Something massive moved beyond them. Then the darkness split open. The hunter entered the chamber. For the first time, the explorers saw the full shape of the creature. It was far larger than they had imagined, hundreds of meters long. Its body was covered in overlapping armored plates that shimmered like dark metal. Massive wings stretched outward like moving mountains. Along its spine ran arcs of glowing blue energy, pulsing with every movement. Its eyes burned like small suns. Professor Chen whispered quietly, "It's not just an animal. It's adapted to travel through the gates." The creature glided between the portals like a living storm. Each movement distorted the energy fields around it. Sergeant Rains aimed his rifle instinctively. "That thing isn't dying from bullets." Pilot Hayes nodded grimly. "In the future, we tried everything. Missiles, railguns, orbital weapons. Nothing could stop it." Captain Mercer stepped forward slowly. "Then we don't fight it. We close the network." The hunter suddenly roared. The sound echoed through every portal in the chamber. Dozens of gates began opening at once. Dark shapes poured through them. Creatures smaller than the hunter, but equally terrifying. The hunter's spawn. Long, skeletal bodies with blade-like limbs and glowing eyes. Lieutenant Alvarez raised her pistol. "They're coming!" Sergeant Rains fired first. The rifle thundered across the chamber. One of the creatures collapsed mid-leap, but more rushed forward through the portals. Captain Mercer shouted, "Defensive formation!" Gunfire echoed through the ancient chamber. Energy blasts from the alien walls illuminated the battlefield. Professor Chen ducked as one of the creatures slashed across the platform. Sergeant Rains dropped another attacker with a controlled burst. But the hunters kept coming. The vast chamber trembles. Hundreds of portals flicker like unstable stars. Captain Mercer studies the darkness between them. "Something enormous moves there." Pilot Hayes whispers quietly, "It followed us." Before anyone can respond, the hunter lets out a thunderous roar. The sound echoes across the endless chamber. Several portals burst open at once. Dark shapes pour through them. Sergeant Rains raises his rifle. "Contact!" The first of the creatures leaps toward the platform. Long limbs, blade-like claws, eyes glowing with cold blue light. Rains fires immediately. The rifle echoes across the chamber. The creature collapses midair. but more rush forward through the portals. Captain Mercer shouts, "Defensive positions!" The team spreads out across the glowing platform. Lieutenant Alvarez scans the approaching swarm. There are dozens of them. Dr. Morozova pulls one of the 1953 survivors behind a glowing column. "Stay down." Professor Chen studies the energy lines beneath the floor. These structures are feeding power to the portals. Another hunter leaps across the platform. Sergeant Rains drops it with 2 precise shots, but the swarm keeps growing. Above them, the colossal hunter glides between the portals. Its wings disturb the energy of the entire network. Blue lightning flashes across its armored body. Pilot Hayes looks toward it with dread. That thing isn't just hunting. It's controlling them. Captain Mercer reloads his rifle. Then we stop the source. The massive creature suddenly dives toward the chamber floor. Wind roars across the platform as its enormous wings spread wide. The explorers brace themselves. The ancient chamber shakes. Then the light changes. Every portal suddenly freezes in place. A brilliant white glow fills the center of the chamber. From within the light emerges a tall figure made of pure energy, the master of the gates. The hunters pause. Even the giant creature hesitates. The luminous figure raises one glowing hand, and the voice of the master echoes across the entire network. "Enough!" The chamber grows quiet. The luminous figure of the master stands at the center of the platform. Around it, the portals hover in frozen silence. Even the giant hunter pauses in the air. Captain Mercer lowers his rifle slightly. "You control the gates." The master's voice echoes softly in every mind. "Yes." Professor Chen steps forward slowly. "You created them." Images suddenly appear in the air around them. Entire galaxies forming from clouds of light. Ancient worlds rising from oceans and fire. Civilizations building cities beneath strange suns. For millions of cycles, the master says, the gates allowed knowledge to travel between worlds. The images change again. Thousands of species crossing the portals. Peaceful exchanges of technology and culture. Dr. Morozova whispers in amazement, "You connected the galaxy." The master nods slowly, but the light around the images begins to darken. New shapes appear in the projection. Gigantic creatures drifting through deep space. Creatures that evolved in the darkness between stars. "The hunters were born in the void," the master continues. "They feed on energy." Professor Chen watches carefully. "Portal energy." The master raises one arm. "Yes. When the gates began opening between worlds, the hunters followed the energy trails." Pilot Hayes clenches his fists. "In our time, they destroyed entire colonies." The image shows a world consumed by darkness. The giant hunter species descending through a portal. Cities falling. Oceans boiling with energy storms. Sergeant Rains shakes his head slowly. "So you shut the network down." "For a time," the master replies, "but the hunters learned. They adapted to travel through the gates themselves." The giant creature in the chamber suddenly roars again. Its enormous wings beat against the glowing air. The hunters' smaller creatures begin moving again. Captain Mercer looks toward the master. "So what do we do now?" The master turns toward the central platform. "The network must be sealed." The chamber trembles again. Several portals collapse into darkness. The hunters shriek as their pathways disappear. But the largest creature dives toward the platform. The master's glowing form brightens. "This will be the final closing of the gates." The chamber trembles as the final portals begin collapsing. One by one, the glowing triangles fade into darkness. The hunters scream in fury. Their paths between worlds are disappearing. Captain Mercer fires the last burst from his rifle. The remaining creatures retreat toward the fading portals. Above them, the giant hunter roars. Its enormous wings beat violently as it tries to reach the central platform. The master raises both arms. Blue energy floods the chamber. The network must be sealed. Professor Chen watches the remaining gates carefully. Only a few are still active. The luminous figure turns toward the survivors of the 1953 expedition. A portal forms beside them. Inside it, the sky above the Atlantic Ocean appears. Storm clouds swirl exactly as they did the day their aircraft vanished. The master speaks gently. Your path returns to your own time. The pilots stare at the portal in disbelief. One of them turns to Captain Mercer. For us, it has only been a year. Mercer nods quietly. Go home. One by one, the pilots step into the glowing gateway. The portal closes behind them. A second portal opens. Bright sunlight spills across the chamber. In the distance stands a futuristic skyline, the world of the year 2087. Pilot Hayes looks at Mercer and smiles faintly. Tell them in your time. And the gates are real. He steps through the portal. It fades into darkness. Only one gateway remains open now, the one leading back to Earth. The giant hunter dives toward the platform in a final desperate attack. The master raises its glowing hand. The last portal closes. The colossal creature collides with the collapsing energy field. The chamber erupts in blinding light. The hunter vanishes into the sealed void between worlds. Silence spreads across the network. The master slowly lowers its arms. The gates are safe once more. A final portal opens before the explorers. Blue ocean beneath a calm sky. Captain Mercer looks back once at the endless chamber of fading stars. Then the team steps through the gateway. The Bermuda Triangle returns to quiet waters, and the ancient gate network sleeps once again. For a moment there is only light, then the sound of wind and waves. Captain Mercer opens his eyes. The team stands on the deck of their aircraft, the same aircraft that disappeared over the Bermuda Triangle. But now the sky above them is calm. Blue ocean stretches to the horizon. Sergeant Raines looks around in disbelief. We're back. Lieutenant Alvarez checks the instruments. They're all working again. The navigation display flashes. Coordinates appear on the screen. Professor Chen reads them slowly. The Bermuda Triangle. Dr. Morozova looks out through the cockpit window. The sea below is calm and empty. No alien worlds, no portals, just Earth. Captain Mercer checks the aircraft clock. The time reads only 20 minutes after their original departure. Sergeant Raines laughs quietly. 20 minutes? Professor Chen shakes his head. For us, it was days. Lieutenant Alvarez suddenly points to the radar screen. Captain, we've got company. 2 fighter jets appear in the distance. Moments later, a radio signal breaks through the speakers. Unidentified aircraft, this is United States Air Force Command. You disappeared from radar 20 minutes ago. Identify yourself immediately. Captain Mercer presses the radio transmitter. This is Captain Mercer. There is a long pause, then the voice returns, shocked. Captain Mercer, your aircraft was reported missing. You are instructed to land immediately at the nearest base. Hours later, the aircraft touches down at a military airfield in Florida. The team is escorted into a quiet briefing room. Officers, scientists, and intelligence agents listen to their story. Portals, alien worlds, the hunters, the master of the gates. Most of the room remains silent. Some believe them, some do not. Finally, an older scientist speaks quietly. The Bermuda Triangle has always been unusual. Captain Mercer looks through the window of the briefing room. The evening sun reflects across the ocean. For a moment, he thinks he sees something far out on the horizon, a faint triangle of blue light beneath the waves. Gone in an instant, Professor Chen steps beside him. Do you think the gates are really closed? Mercer watches the quiet ocean, then answers softly. I think they're sleeping. The camera slowly rises above the calm water of the Bermuda Triangle. Far below the surface, something ancient glows faintly in the darkness. A silent gate, waiting. Dear friends, if you enjoy the stories on our channel, please consider subscribing. Leave a like, share your thoughts in the comments, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our upcoming stories and new releases. Your support truly means a lot and helps the channel grow and continue creating. Thank you very much for watching.